I'm a paranormal investigator who's been faking evidence for 8 years to keep my TV show running and my brand growing. I've created ghost encounters with hitting speakers, staged phenomena, and edited footage that I've convinced thousands of people is real. I've exploited over 100 grieving families who wanted to believe their deceased loved ones were still present, charging them $5,000 or more for investigations where I manufacture emotional moments using cold reading techniques I learned from studying fraudulent mediums. My entire 6-person crew knows it's fake. We've built an empire worth $3 million on manufactured fear and false hope. And a teenager is dead because of us. His name was Trevor Baskins. He was 16 years old. His parents are suing me for wrongful death, claiming our investigation convinced their son his house was demonically possessed, triggering a psychotic break that ended with him hanging himself in the garage. I have footage proving we faked everything in their home: hidden speakers in the vents, pre-recorded EVPs, Drew doing shadow figures with a black sheet on fishing line. If I release that footage, it destroys everything. The show, the brand, the book deals, the speaking tours, the merchandise line. 8 years of work, $3 million in assets, my crew's livelihoods, gone. So the footage stays locked in a safe in my office, and my lawyers are working on a settlement with a brutal NDA attached. I didn't start out planning to become a fraud. That's what I tell myself when I can't sleep, which is most nights now. 8 years ago, I was working IT support and running a paranormal investigation hobby group on weekends. 5 of us with EMF readers from Amazon and voice recorders checking out supposedly haunted locations for fun. We were enthusiasts, believers even, genuinely hoping to find evidence of life after death. We investigated maybe 30 locations in 2 years. We never found anything concrete. Some weird noises, a few cold spots, maybe an EMF spike in your old wiring, but nothing definitively paranormal. I was starting to lose faith, actually. Starting to think maybe it was all just wishful thinking and a patterned recognition and random noise. Then Marcus, my best friend since college and co-founder of our group, said something that changed everything. You know what our problem is? We're too honest. Every big paranormal investigator on TV is manufacturing evidence. That's how you make content people actually want to watch. We were drunk, sitting in my apartment after another uneventful investigation. I laughed it off. But Marcus pulled up videos, showed me frame-by-frame analysis of famous ghost shows. Look, you can see the fishing line. There, the EVP is just reversed audio. Here, that's obviously someone in the crew making the noise. So they're all fake? I asked. The successful ones are, Marcus said. Nobody wants to watch 7 hours of footage where nothing happens. They want to see ghosts, so you give them ghosts. 3 weeks later, we faked our first evidence. It was a small thing, an investigation at a supposedly haunted barn outside of town. Nothing was happening, we'd been there for hours, and I knew the footage would be useless. So Marcus hid a Bluetooth speaker in the hayloft and played a pre-recorded woman's voice saying, "Help me," while I was recording on the main floor. The reaction on my face in the footage was genuine shock. I didn't know he'd done it until I heard it. He'd acted alone without telling me, specifically to capture my authentic reaction. When we reviewed the footage, we both knew this was compelling content. This made people believe. We posted it to YouTube. Within a week, it had 40,000 views. Within a month, 180,000 views. Comments flooded in. "This is the most authentic evidence I've ever seen. You can tell by his face this is real. Finally, genuine investigators." That's when I made the decision. We'd manufacture evidence, but we'd be smart about it. Subtle. Believable. Not the theatrical nonsense of the big TV shows, but just enough to keep people engaged. Just enough to build an audience. Just enough to matter. By month 6, we had 200,000 YouTube subscribers. A production company reached out about a TV show. The pitch was simple: authenticity-focused paranormal investigation, less theatrics than the established shows, emphasis on the science and evidence-based approach. They loved our content. They loved Marcus's background in audio engineering and my on-camera presence. The show launched 2 years after our first faked evidence. Afterlife Investigators on a mid-tier cable network, Friday nights at 10 p.m. The contract was for 8 episodes with an option for more if ratings were good. Ratings were excellent. We got picked up for 3 more seasons. That's when the money started rolling in. Not just the TV contract, but speaking engagements, a book deal, merchandise, and the private investigations. Families would contact us, begging us to investigate their homes, wanting to connect with deceased relatives, needing answers about strange occurrences. We'd charge $3,000 initially, then $5,000 as demand increased, and then sometimes $10,000 for cases that required extensive investigation. Every single one was fake. The system we developed was sophisticated. Before any investigation, I'd do extensive research, obituaries, social media, property records, local news. By the time I showed up, I knew the names of deceased family members, significant dates, personal details that seemed impossible to know. During the investigation, I'd use those details in cold readings, disguised as psychic impressions. I'm sensing a male presence, someone older, perhaps a father figure. He's showing me something about his chest. Did he have heart problems? The family would gasp, confirm, and suddenly I'm not an investigator, I'm a conduit to their loved one. Then Marcus would trigger the hidden speakers. I'm proud of you, in a distorted male voice that could be anyone, that could be Dad. The family would sob, thank us, feel comforted. We'd deliver edited footage showing evidence. EVPs we'd recorded ourselves, EMF spikes we'd triggered with hidden electromagnetic devices, shadows that were drew with a sheet, orbs that were literally bugs on the camera lens presented as energy manifestations. Everyone left feeling like they'd experienced something real. We left with a check and footage for the show. My crew knew what we were doing. Marcus, obviously, but also Drew, camera operator, Simone, sound tech, Angela, researcher, and eventually 2 more production assistants, Jake and May. Nobody objected because nobody wanted to kill the golden goose. We were making real money. Marcus and I were pulling in about $400K annually each at the peak. Crew members making $80 to $120K. For people in their late 20s and early 30s, this was life-changing income. We had an unspoken agreement, never talk about it explicitly even among ourselves, maintain plausible deniability, refer to it as helping the investigation along or enhancing the evidence or giving people the closure they need. Never call it what it was. Fraud. Around year 5, something started happening to me. I'd be doing an investigation, performing the cold reading, manufacturing the emotional moment, and I'd feel something. A presence, maybe, an energy. I'd catch myself thinking, what if there really is something here? What if beneath all our fakery there's actual truth?
I started doing personal investigations alone, off camera. Just me and some equipment in supposedly haunted locations at 3 a.m., looking for real evidence, needing to know if any of it was real, if I was a fraud documenting nothing or a fraud obscuring something genuine. I never found anything conclusive. Just shadows that could be explained, sounds that could be anything, feelings that could be pattern recognition and self-suggestion. But the doubt remained. Sometimes during investigations, I can't tell anymore what's me performing and what's me genuinely experiencing something. The boundaries have collapsed. I've told the lies so many times that they feel like truth, and the truth, that it's all manufactured, feels like the real lie. Marcus thinks I'm losing it. Your method acting yourself into believing, he told me 6 months ago. You know it's all fake. You're the one making it fake. Don't gaslight yourself. But that's the thing. I'm not sure anymore what I know. We investigated the Baskins house 14 months ago. Standard case, family reporting strange noises, feelings of being watched, objects moving. We did our usual research. The father's mother had died in the house 2 years prior. The teenage son, Trevor, had been close to her. Perfect setup for an emotional investigation. We went in with the full arsenal. Hidden speakers in 3 rooms, pre-recorded EVPs in an elderly woman's voice saying Trevor's name and I'm still here. EMF triggers. Drew positioned to create shadow figures in the hallway. I did my cold reading, connecting with the grandmother's spirit, delivering vague but emotionally resonant messages. Trevor was there during the investigation. 16, sensitive kid, clearly struggling with his grandmother's death. When he heard the EVP of her voice calling his name, he broke down sobbing. When I told him, using information Angela had pulled from social media, that his grandmother was proud of him and wanted him to keep trying, he looked at me with such desperate hope that I felt something crack inside my chest. But I kept going. That's what I do. I delivered the performance, manufactured the evidence, and made that family believe their deceased grandmother was watching over them. The edited footage was powerful. Trevor's reaction, the EVPs, the shadow figures, it was one of our highest rated episodes. 3 months later, Trevor started exhibiting symptoms of psychosis, hallucinations, paranoid delusions, convinced that demonic entities were in the house because we'd opened a door with our investigation. His parents tried medication, therapy, hospitalization. Nothing helped. He killed himself in their garage 7 months after our investigation. The note mentioned demons, spiritual warfare, needing to escape the entities that were tormenting him. The Baskins attorney sent us the note, along with Trevor's journal documenting his decline. He'd watched our show repeatedly, analyzed every piece of evidence, become convinced that if spirits existed, then demons did too. Our manufactured proof of the afterlife had triggered a psychotic break in a vulnerable kid. I have the raw footage from that investigation. Everything. The crew setting up hidden speakers, Drew doing the shadow figure with the sheet, Marcus playing the pre-recorded EVPs, me coaching Angela on which personal details to discover for my cold reading. Footage proving beyond any doubt that every single piece of evidence from that investigation was manufactured. The Baskins attorney has requested all raw footage. My lawyers have filed motions to block discovery, claiming proprietary production methods. But if it goes to trial, if a judge orders us to turn it over, the truth comes out. And not just about the Baskins investigation, about everything. We're currently negotiating a settlement. The Baskins want 7 figures. My lawyers say we should pay it, that it's cheaper than going to trial and infinitely cheaper than the truth coming out. The network's insurance will cover most of it, but there are deductibles, legal fees, and the settlement has to include an NDA so airtight it prevents them from ever speaking about our methods. I lie awake thinking about Trevor. About his face when he heard that EVP of his grandmother's voice, a voice I hired from Fiverr, distorted with audio software, played through a hidden speaker. About how desperately he wanted to believe his grandmother was still with him. About how my manufactured comfort became his real torment. Marcus says I need to compartmentalize better. It's tragic, but you didn't cause his psychosis. He was mentally ill. This isn't on us. But it is on us. We convinced a vulnerable kid that the supernatural was real by manufacturing evidence. We exploited his grief for content and profit. And when our lies collided with his illness, he died. The show is in its 7th season now. We've done 94 episodes. Every single one contains faked evidence. We've investigated 127 private residences, charged an average of $6,200 per investigation, and delivered manufactured proof of the supernatural to every single family. How many of them made decisions based on our lies? How many stayed in houses they should have sold because we convinced them their dead relatives were there? How many sought our comfort instead of therapy? How many, like Trevor, were vulnerable in ways we didn't see or care about? I've started keeping a list. Not formally, just mentally. The elderly widow who spent her retirement savings on multiple investigations because we kept connecting her with her husband. The man who quit his job and moved back to his childhood home because we convinced him his dead mother's spirit was there. The woman who told us our investigation was the only thing keeping her going after her daughter's death. We gave them all fake evidence, manufactured moments, lies dressed up as hope.
The empire we've built is worth approximately $3 million. The show, the production company Marcus and I own, the book royalties, the merchandise, the speaking fees, the investigation business. We employ 12 people full-time now, support maybe 20 contractors sporadically. Actual livelihoods depend on this continuing. And it will continue. The settlement with the Baskins will get finalized, they'll sign the NDA, and the truth will stay buried. We'll film season 8, the investigations will keep coming, the money will keep flowing. Because the alternative is unthinkable, admitting that it's all fake, that we've exploited over 100 families, that we built our success on manufacturing false hope for grieving people, that our lies may have contributed to a teenager's death. I can't do that. I won't do that. So I keep performing, keep manufacturing evidence, keep delivering emotional moments I know are based on lies I'm telling to people who desperately want to believe. My therapist, who I see under a pseudonym, paying cash, asked me last week if I feel guilty. I gave him the answer I've perfected. I provide comfort to grieving people. Whether the evidence is real or manufactured, the healing they experience is genuine. That's what matters. He looked at me for a long moment. Do you believe that? Honestly, I don't know anymore what I believe. I've told the lies so many times they feel like truth. I've performed belief so consistently that I've lost track of my actual convictions. Sometimes during investigations, I genuinely feel presences, see shadows, hear voices, and I can't tell if it's real perception, manufactured effect, or my own psychology fracturing under the weight of sustained deception. We have an investigation scheduled for tomorrow. A family whose daughter died in a car accident wants to know if she's at peace. I've already researched them. The daughter's name was Emma. She was 22, pre-med student, died 3 months ago. The mother's been hospitalized twice for depression since. They're paying $8,000 for the investigation. Angela has prepared cold reading notes. Emma was studious, wanted to help people, had a close relationship with her mother. I'll sense these things during the investigation. Marcus has pre-recorded EVPs. I'm okay, Mom, and don't be sad, in a young woman's voice we hired. Drew will position himself for shadow figures. We'll manufacture emotional closure for this grieving mother. She'll cry, thank us, tell us we've given her peace. We'll deliver edited footage showing proof that Emma is still present. The mother will watch it repeatedly, show it to friends, maybe find the strength to heal. And it will all be lies. But the healing will be real, won't it? That's what I tell myself. The comfort we provide is genuine, even if the evidence isn't. We're giving people what they need. Hope, closure, permission to move forward. That's not fraud. That's a service. That's what I tell myself. Trevor's face keeps appearing in my mind at 3 a.m., his desperate hope when he heard his grandmother's voice, his parents' anguish when they buried him, the journal entries describing his torment by entities we convinced him were real. Marcus says I need to stop dwelling on it, that I'm developing a martyr complex. We provide entertainment and comfort, he said last week. Most people know, on some level, that paranormal shows are partially manufactured. They want to believe, so they believe. That's not on us. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm overthinking this, inflating my own guilt because I need to feel something about what we do. Or maybe we're exactly what Trevor's parents claimed. Predators who exploit grief for profit, who manufacture false hope, who don't care about the damage we cause as long as the money keeps coming. I don't know anymore. What I do know, tomorrow I'll do that investigation. I'll perform the cold reading. I'll deliver the manufactured evidence. I'll watch a grieving mother's face transform with hope based on lies I'm telling her. And I'll cash the check. Because I've built my entire life on this fraud, and it's too late to tear it down now. Too many people depend on it. Too much money is invested in maintaining the illusion. Too much of my identity is wrapped up in being Connor Hayes, renowned paranormal investigator, author, TV personality. Without the show, without the brand, without the manufactured evidence and the false hope I sell, I don't know who I am anymore. Maybe that's the real haunting. Not the fake ghosts I create, but the person I've become to create them. The fraud who can't remember what authenticity feels like. The liar who's forgotten what truth sounds like. But tomorrow's investigation pays $8,000, and we have 3 more booked this month at similar rates. Season 8 will generate another $500,000 in production fees. The merchandise line is launching new products in time for Halloween. The empire continues. The lies continue. And somewhere, a teenager is dead because of what we do. But I have a settlement agreement to protect me from that truth, and a crew to pay, and a brand to maintain. So I'll keep performing, keep manufacturing, keep delivering emotional moments I know are based on lies I'm telling to people who desperately want to believe. Because that's what I do now.